And now I'd like to introduce our first storyteller, Dave McGrath. Dave is a comedian, a writer, a speaker, and an educator from nearby Westboro. He will tell his story about living with a chronic disease, fighting cancer, with humor and grace, and lots of help from his very large Irish Catholic family. Dave, welcome to the stage.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks everyone for being here. So yes, I grew up in nearby Westboro, Massachusetts, part of a big Irish Catholic family. I'm the middle of 5. I have everything you can have but a twin. Older brother, older sister, younger sister. We grew up in a sports-loving family, watching and playing, in particular hockey. We loved our Bruins. I watched hockey and played hockey. Now, what do hockey players pride ourselves on? We pride ourselves on being tough and having a high pain tolerance, which I did and I still do. Didn't really serve me that well, though, when I was young. When I was in 3rd grade, I fell on my ankle at recess and walked around on it for half a day at school. Found out I was walking on a broken ankle. And a few years later, I was like 11 or 12, I started having really painful symptoms, but they were embarrassing. I didn't want to tell anyone about them. Now I'm going to tell you all about them. It was diarrhea, blood when I went to the bathroom, cramping. It wasn't fun, but I was Mr. Hockey Player Tough Guy. I can deal with this, right? And I dealt with it for 2 years. I just dealt with this. You know, it hurts when I go to the bathroom, and sometimes I bleed when I go to the bathroom. I just dealt with it. Until finally, when I was a freshman in high school, I was 14 years old, the pain got so bad I couldn't stand up, right? And I was like, I had to go like this for the pain. And if I was like this, it hurt too much. And at that point, I said, maybe I should go see a doctor about this. I went to the doctor, but I didn't tell him about all those embarrassing symptoms. I just said, it hurts right here. And he said, oh, it's probably just indigestion, just watch what you eat and it should go away. And that's exactly what I wanted to hear, right? I didn't want to hear I had something serious going on. So I went home, it didn't get better, it got worse. And it got so bad that my mom called a neighbor of ours, Dr. Bob, who worked at UMass, said, Dave's not doing too well, can you come look at him? So Dr. Bob's awesome, he would come over whenever we asked him to. He examined me and he said, I think your appendix is about to burst. You need to go to the ER tonight. So my parents took me to the emergency room at UMass. They opened me up. It was supposed to be a 45-minute surgery to remove my appendix. When they opened me up, they found my intestines were basically rotting away. They removed 1.5 feet of my large and small intestines, and I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Now, Crohn's, if you haven't heard, is an autoimmune, chronic gastrointestinal disease. I would never wish it on anyone. But I'm glad, I actually was glad. I was like, oh, so this is what's been going on for 2 or 3 years. I have Crohn's disease. All right, now I know, that's a cool thing. And my family was there supporting me as usual. And we actually joked about it. I was actually in the hospital for Christmas when I was diagnosed. My older brother, John, you know, when he heard that they removed my intestines, he's like, Dave, I wonder how many farts passed through those intestines. So I was actually happy to have a diagnosis. And I had an older sister, Carolyn. She was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes probably 5 years before that. And I'd seen her deal with chronic disease. And I had seen her live as close to a normal life as she could with a chronic disease. So I was like, well, Carolyn has diabetes, I have Crohn's, I can do this too. And I did. I dealt with it. Finally found the right balance of diet, medication, and exercise. And I pretty much have my Crohn's under control. Now, so I had my Crohn's experience. Fast forward a few years, I was a freshman when the Crohn's happened. My senior year in high school, I started having different symptoms. This time, it was a headache and double vision. And I learned from my Crohn's. I was like, well, last time I had something serious going on, I waited for years and I went to the doctor. They need to remove some of my intestines. So maybe I'll go to the doctor first this time. So I was seeing double. I thought maybe something was wrong with my contact lenses, so I went to my eye doctor. He didn't know what was wrong with me, referred me to another doctor. Finally, the 3rd doctor I saw, and this is all like within a week of my headache starting and double vision. The 3rd doctor, who's an ophthalmologist, neurologist at UMass, he looked at me and he's like, oh, so yeah, something's going on here. Something's going on. And my mom and I were actually about we're like literally putting our coats on, walking out of his office, and my mom said, "Should we call you if his headaches get worse?" And he looked at my chart like he didn't know I was having headaches. So it's an important tip when you go to your doctor, make sure they know all your symptoms. Because as soon as my mom said that, he ordered a CAT scan. I'll never forget that CAT scan. I was lying on my back, and there was a sticker of a cat with a magnifying glass saying, "Don't worry, it's only a CAT scan." I was like, that's hilarious. So they took a round of pictures, and then the CT technician came in, and she's like, "I'm going to remove this head plate, lean your head back, because the doctor wants more pictures from a different angle." And I was like, oh, poop. But I didn't say that. I think I went through every swear I ever knew in my head, because I knew there's no way a doctor would order more pictures if there wasn't something there. So I'm sitting there, and you talk about dealing with grief. Sometimes people take years. I took about 5 minutes. I went every single step. First, it was depression. I was like, first it was denial. I was like, there's no way I'm having something else serious. I already have Crohn's, there's no way. Then I was angry. I was like, how dare fate give me another disease? Then I was bargaining. I was like, all right, so whatever it is, just don't make it too bad, right? Then it was depression. I was like, Jesus, I have to deal with this again, another disease. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I remembered my mom who was waiting for me outside, and I was like, oh no. All of that negative stuff you're dealing with right now, you can't go to mom and have any of those. So you're just going to have to go out there and tell her everything's going to be fine. And not only do you have to say it, you have to believe it. So I did. At that moment, I was like, all right, accepting whatever it is, I'm going to beat it. I'm going to go tell mom that I'm going to beat it. You messed up care of my Crohn's, they're going to take care of whatever it is in here. So I walk out to see my mom, and she's teary-eyed. They actually told her before they told me. And my mom said, "Dave, they found a tumor in the middle of your brain. It's pushing on your optic nerve. That's why you're seeing double." It's like, whoa. This is 3 days after my 18th birthday. Found out I have a brain tumor. I was like, wow. But I hugged her and I said, "Mom, they're going to deal with it. I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about it." And I believed it. I was like, whatever it is, I don't care. We're going to deal with it. So I was in and out of they actually thought it was benign at first because of the location. So I was in and out of the hospital for a few weeks, getting tests done, getting blood drawn, which is never fun, right? But as my dad would teach you, when there's a problem, you just got to do that stuff. That's, that you can't. My mom was the, great nurturer. My dad was like the problem solver, right? And they both support the combination of that support is really what has gotten through me through life, right? So it was a few weeks getting tests done. They still didn't know. So I had to have a biopsy done. They were going to cut in the back of my neck and go straight up and take a piece of it out. My parents and I actually met with the surgeon who described what he was going to do. And I don't know if you've ever had to schedule brain surgery, but when you do, you basically sign your life away. You sign your life away. And there's pages and pages. I'm like, yep. And I saw a line, and I showed it to my parents. It said, with all brain surgery, there's a slight chance the patient will undergo a severe personality change. I showed that to my parents. I was like, you guys wish, right? Turns out, I didn't need the surgery. Like a few days before my surgery, they found a marker in my blood, which told them I had brain cancer. Not really news you're prepared to hear when you're 18. I was the first person I knew who had cancer, was me. Not the news, but I was actually, it's weird hearing that, but I was like, well, I know what it is. So that's good. Knowing what you have is good. The interesting thing about my tumor was that even though it was in the middle of my brain, it was the same kind of cells as testicular cancer, proving I'm a dickhead. How many people get biological proof of that? I think my brothers and sisters said it so often it actually happened. But I was glad. They knew what kind of tumor it was. They knew what the treatment plan was. I was going to get 6 rounds of chemotherapy followed by radiation. It's like, cool, we have a plan. That's awesome. So there I am at UMass, about to get my first round of chemotherapy. Who walks into my room but Dr. Bob? Dr. Bob came in to tell me that he had read studies that showed cancer patients who use visualization when they're getting treatment have higher success rates. I was like, what's that? So he told me, he's like, well, when you get your chemo, close your eyes and picture it traveling through your veins up into your brain and attacking the tumor. And that's exactly what I did, paired with the best late 80s hair bands that were available to me at the time. There I was listening to Skid Row, Extreme. It was 1992, so I was actually into the grunge too, listening to Pearl Jam as well. There was a band, Babylon AD, who had a song called Bad Blood. I'm like, that's perfect for this, what I'm going through. So that's what I did. I visualized every round of chemo. I visualized. And I watched, this is the summer between my senior year and freshman year of college. I think I watched a funny movie every single day that summer. I kept laughing, even at my worst. When I was feeling my worst, I was like, well, the cancer's feeling this too, right? I tried to put a positive spin on every situation, good or bad. So I went through chemotherapy that summer, not a normal thing to do. And then my freshman year of college started, and my doctors and family were like, we think you should take the first semester off to recover and, get your strength back, which that sounds like a good idea. 18-year-old Dave wasn't having it. 18-year-old Dave said, I say when I start college. Cancer doesn't tell me when to start college. So my last round of chemotherapy was my first weekend of college. Got my last round of chemo. And then the radiation was going to start, right? Well, the radiologist and my oncology team came in and told me, we don't know why, but you don't need radiation. Your cancer is gone. I knew why, because I pictured it being gone, right? You can see my car, my orange Prius is parked right out front of here. I pictured that parking spot. That's not a coincidence, it works. So Crohn's and cancer, I would never wish Crohn's and cancer on anyone, right? They're really hard diseases, but they've taught me so much, right? Crohn's taught me, if you have symptoms, don't wait, go to the doctor. Brain cancer has taught me so much, right? But the most important thing, it taught me to value my health, but it taught me that the only thing in life that really matters are the people that you have in your life. And I've been so blessed to have a great family, friends, and all of you here listening to my story. Thank you so much. Have a great night.